Hey, good morning. It's Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencers Podcast. Here it is, Friday. We're facing the weekend, but we got work to do. We're going to talk today with Ron Dozer of ThriveOneFive Media and AI, Des Moines, Iowa. That's a good place to start our discussion today. Hello, Ron. Welcome to the Influencers Podcast.
Hey, Bill, I think this was my fault. It's actually Ryan Dozer, not Ron Dozer. I just caught that there. So it's all good. We'll still get on and provide value here.
Okay, I'll talk to Ron or Ryan. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'll make a big deal out of my name sometime, William Williams. I'm Bill or Billy or Will, just depending on who I'm talking to.
Yeah, man, I don't care either way. So let's get rolling.
What do you think about talking about what you do instead of what we do? Let's talk about your origin story. How'd you get started in the marketing business, and what's your expertise?
Yeah, so I'm all over the place right now, Bill, to be honest. But my story starts from I went through the traditional route, right? The 4-year college degree, got my first job into corporate America. I actually used to work at Meredith Corporation running ads for People Magazine. Now it's known as Dot Meredith. They got bought out a couple years ago after I left. And really what I learned there when that 9 to 5 marketing world, I was like, wow, like this is what we're supposed to do for 45 years of our life is sit in a cubicle for 40, 50 hours a week and just do what you're supposed to. And like all this basic marketing stuff, like, no, screw that. Like, I don't want to do that anymore, So I got bored with it about 2 or 3 months in, started learning SEO on the side, started learning blogging, content creation, affiliate marketing, all sorts of stuff on the side, in addition to my 9 to 5 job. Fast forward about a year and a half in, I had an opportunity from an old employer from the past who started his own affiliate site. And he's like, hey, Ryan, do you want to hop on the affiliate marketing world with me? And I didn't know anything about it, Bill, to be completely honest. I'm like, affiliate marketing, like I've heard about it, all these gurus on the internet. Sure, why not, right? So I dove into the affiliate world after about a year and a half in corporate. I'm still in affiliate marketing. I've been doing it for almost 5 years now, primarily in the tech VPN world. And then I also do a lot with AI. I do high ticket client lead generation right now for clients in cash-based medical. I actually have a water heaters client in the Midwest where that's pretty high ticket lead generation through SEO and paid search. So yeah, I'm really all over the place, Bill, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm a dentist who dabbles in IT and health wellness products. So I've been there, done that. And I think it's fun to be an expert in many areas. It's kind of keeps you alive, keeps you flowing. Tell us one of your failure stories, to start with. Let's see how real you are.
Yeah, so I would say the biggest failure that I had is probably quitting my 9 to 5 job. So that would be looked at as a failure in a lot of people's eyes when you're giving up several thousands of dollars a month in guaranteed income for something that's not guaranteed. But to be honest with you, Bill, I've learned that failure is not really as scary as society makes it out to be, especially with the internet. I mean, what is failure anymore with the internet, right? People that have also failed the most, I've learned, are also the most successful. So, I mean, that's not like a rags to riches type story that I'm sure other people have talked about from other countries that you maybe had on your podcast. But I mean, quitting your job when you have a guaranteed source of several thousands and thousands of dollars of income to not guaranteed income and trying to figure it out. Unfortunately, that's viewed as failure in a lot of people's eyes in today's world.
I can agree with you that people tend to be a little bit hasty when they quit their 9 to 5 without this entrepreneur job being already developed. And they do suffer some downtimes when that happens. I've seen a lot of people missing out on that regular paycheck, and they wish they had kept it a little longer until their affiliate programs matured. Hey, speaking of affiliate programs, this is a high interest area for our audience today. How about talking about some of the things that cause people to jump into the affiliate space but not make it first?
Yeah, well, number one, Bill, a huge mistake is focusing on vanity metrics. So when I talk to a lot of people that want to get into affiliate marketing, what do I mean by this? It's looking at impressions on social media. How many followers can I get? Where can my website look the best? What does the design look like? Instead of actually focusing on what matters. So Number one is creating an email list, building an opt-in guide. That seems to be forgotten about when a lot of people get into affiliate marketing. They're just trying to get their traffic up. They're trying to get their followers up. But at the end of the day, you're renting traffic from these social platforms and even search engines. But when you build an email list and you have an opt-in guide, and you have an email drip sequence, that is traffic that you control. So building more traffic that you control over time through emails, that is crucial. So that's number one mistake that I've seen in a lot of people new to affiliate marketing.
That's a big gem.
Yeah, the other one too, Bill, I'll say is that choosing a niche purely for money. So a lot of people, when they dabble in it for the first time, they'll look at these niches. What are the niches I can make the most money? And in affiliates, a lot of SaaS. It's VPN's a big SaaS, web hosting before VPN was the big affiliate gold mine. But the problem here is number one, if you're not knowledgeable about a topic, people will sniff out your BS very quickly, especially if you're doing YouTube or even writing content. And also number two, it's very difficult to win if you're not passionate about the topic. So if you're going into a topic purely for money and you're not passionate or knowledgeable about it, you will fail over time because other people will beat you out.
Totally agree with that. People can really sniff it out quick.
Yeah, and the third one I'd add here, Bill, is not adding a personal touch. So, especially in the world with AI, and you know this too, like people buy from people. They don't buy from brands. When they see brands on YouTube or brands on the internet, there's a trust element there. You're not going to trust a brand as much as you would trust a human being adding that personal touch. So, make sure that, a lot of people don't want to get in front of a camera. I understand it's scary, right, to present yourself. But if you're growing a YouTube audience, growing a social media audience, even growing an audience through SEO and content marketing, you need to add a personal touch. It will do wonders if you do that.
I've always told people exactly that they need to be known and trusted and liked before they'll have a buyer.
Absolutely.
So as you go forward, you have a lot of irons in the fire. What motivates you to keep going and digging deeper into the places that seem to be exciting to you to work in?
Yeah, what motivates me? Just trying to be better every day, Bill. Honestly, every day I feel like the sky is falling. And so when I'm surrounded by several individuals that are entrepreneurs, myself in Des Moines, it's weird because growing is painful, right? There's a lot of people in the 9 to 5 world that, you're surrounded by in society, where they just think every day is the same. Tomorrow is going to be exactly the same as today was. But you have to just realize that if you want to grow, it will be extremely painful. So I don't know, man, just staying motivated is extremely important when you're trying to grow something from the ground up.
It's interesting. I'll tell you, I interview people from all over the USA mostly, and left coast, east coast, and South Florida tend to dominate. And so when I interview somebody from the Midwest, the center of the U.S., is a refreshing difference between the types of things that they're interested in. They call us flyover country, but I think the people in the middle are pretty real.
Yeah, we are extremely authentic, Bill. And there's a lot of validity to flyover. There's a lot of boring stuff here. And there's a lot of boring people who have, traditional values of family and the 9 to 5 workload. But yeah, that is very valid too. There's a lot of authenticity here in the Midwest. I would vouch for that.
It seems to be very clear to me when I interview people. And I actually noticed it 35 years ago when I started teaching all over the U.S. the same way. I would teach in Boston, I would teach in LA, Seattle, and then I would teach in Kansas City or Dallas. It was just a different world. And so when people market, they need to do it locally. Like you're a local specialist, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think you have to learn your market where you are, learn your audience. Tell us some of the success secrets that helps you be successful with your local market.
Yeah, so I still have a long way to go. I would be defined by successful as some, but I personally don't find myself successful yet. I feel like I have a long way to go. But number one is I read a book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, very popular book. There's a quote in there that's always stuck with me. It's choose uncertainty over unhappiness. I think that would be a top success secret because a lot of people, maybe that Bill, I know in my personal life, it's easy to choose uncertainty over unhappiness, not quitting your job, doing things that are very certain and are guaranteed versus the unknown because people are terrified of the unknown. So if you choose uncertainty over unhappiness, you'd be surprised what opportunities can arise from that.
I have a diagram that's called this circle. You have to get outside to be uncomfortable. And then once you get uncomfortable, the stress of that creates opportunity. And so I believe you're exactly right when you talk about the comfort zone, getting
Yep.
outside your circle.
Absolutely. Yeah. So number two, I would say a number two success secret, always focusing on 80/20. I believe it's called Pareto's Law or Pareto's Principle, something of that
Yes.
regard. But 80/20, right? So like, especially as an entrepreneur, there's a million things going on in my everyday, Bill. There's shiny object syndrome. There's new AI tools. There's a million fires to put out. But guess what? Only 20% of those are actually going to move my business forward. I could spend 80% of my time on emails or social media or like this and that like just to triggers my cheap dopamine and like, figure that out. But only 20% of the actual tasks will move the business forward.
We've been studying AI a lot recently and implementing it into our processes. I agree with you. And the 20% that you better focus on, a lot of it's going to be in the AI area.
Yeah. And AI, there's a lot of shiny objects too. I mean, there is a very 20% niche of AI that actually matters, like how to use Chat GPT for real world applications versus these 50 other AI tools that you could spend your time learning when you're better off actually just learning the weeds of Chat GPT. So that's a really good example.
I went through a thing I bought, 50 different things you can do with AI, and they were all, little small tools. And I found that about 80% of them were useless for my business. You're exactly right. And that people will sell you anything as long as they can make a sale. But the usefulness of it is not always guaranteed.
Well, also put this into perspective, Bill. So you're familiar with OpenAI and the GPT-4 language model. So I would say probably 85 to 90% of these AI SaaS tools are actually just white label OpenAI. They're integrating OpenAI's API key that pulls in GPT-4, and then they're spinning up a nice website. They're spinning up these nice prompts, and then charging you 20 to 50 bucks on credit card auto renew like a typical SaaS model. And then people don't think twice. They just think, wow, these tools are great. When in reality, it's all white label OpenAI, and you could just go buy Chat GPT Plus for 20 bucks a month instead of three other AI tools for 50 bucks a month.
Right on, right on. I've got the $20 a month OpenAI right now. And here there's better things available. So, it's an escalation of technology. And I'm still with the one I started with.
Yeah, GPT-4 is still the most sophisticated model. Google Bard just had a big update. Claude's another good one. Microsoft Copilot. I mean, things are coming out left and right.
Yeah. And you can't go wrong with any of them as long as you know it well.
Yep. As long as you understand the inputs to produce good outputs. That's really what AI is.
Yeah. At ThriveOneFive Media, what's your motto down there?
Yeah, I would say my motto, there's a couple things I would say, but number one, and I actually got this from a clip from Kevin Hart, who was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He talks about how the sun doesn't stop. And what do I mean by this? Well, the sun's going to come up every single day, Bill, regardless of how you feel, regardless of any problems that you have. So you have to make the most out of every single day is what that motto means to me. Sun don't stop for nobody is how he coins it.
Well, Ryan, you got it knocked pretty well. If your sun rises every day in Des Moines, Iowa, I think you've got your handle on it. It sounds like you're well put together.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm trying to figure it out every single day. And I would say another motto, Bill, that I live by quite a bit is that no one really cares. And it's very basic. But we all think that, we hear a million thoughts from people telling us to do things or saying we shouldn't do things. But at the end of the day, you just have to realize that no one actually cares. Regardless of what you think, no one cares. Just do what you got to do and move on.
Yeah. If you're not part of this, they probably don't care as much unless they're in your immediate circle.
Yeah. And a lot of people have ideas who have never accomplished anything. That's another thing I've learned too.
Yeah. Proof of pudding. Tell me about why somebody would choose your company or work with you as an affiliate.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm always dabbling into new things, right? So I'm the type of person where if a client is struggling or if an affiliate project is struggling, I lose sleep. Like whether that's healthy or unhealthy, I experienced this a couple of weeks ago actually, where a client was like, we were transitioning a new client over and they had an old marketing agency and things were broken, blah blah blah. I won't go into the details, but I could not sleep. But I had to waive some of the invoice because it was so bad how they left things, but I couldn't sleep, and it's figured out now because I've dedicated the time put in the extra hours to make sure things are running properly. And I would say another reason too is, Bill, is that I will always go the extra mile and learn more than everyone else will. People will always just scratch the surface of tools and learn the basics. But like ChatGPT and AI, for example, I will spend hours learning how to leverage these tools that can apply to an affiliate model or any business, just to try to prove efficiency and increase overall revenue.
I think you find that's going to pay off in big spades. Anybody who'll do that should be somebody you consider as your marketing agency.
Yeah, for sure.
Your ideal client, who would that be?
I would say anyone who specializes in high ticket lead generation. So I'll give some examples of right now. We have a cash-based medical client who performs integrative and holistic cancer treatments in Arizona, 65 grand to get in the door, no insurance, right? So it's very competitive to market for those types of things, but I've figured out the high ticket lead gen game pretty good now through multiple avenues.
Sounds like a winner to me. You don't find too many people who have success at that level, but you've figured it out.
Yep, and it changes every day. It's a moving goalpost, but you got to stay on top of it.
Arizona's a hotbed for that type of thing too, I understand.
Yes, it is.
Well, let's say you're looking for these kind of clients. You pick a niche and you go looking. How do you do it? How do you find clients?
To be honest, Bill, a lot of it is referral based. I've gotten to the point now where I probably need to outsource work because it's getting very spread thin. I have a lot of referrals like on backlog, and I have to get back to people on proposals and pricing and meetings and all that fun stuff. But right now, it's just really relying on referrals, because if you have a couple high quality clients and you showcase that, you post it on LinkedIn. I do post a lot on LinkedIn, and that's where some of these referrals come from. So just posting quality content on LinkedIn or whatever social media you're doing, over time, inbound leads will show up. The quality inbound leads that you want will show up reflecting the value in the content that you post.
Yeah, I did a marketing interview yesterday with a fellow who was talking about inbound marketing being his big ticket, what he does best. And the ideal type of client acquisition is the referral network rather than having to go pay for it.
Yep. And people want to do cold outreach and cold call and this and that. And you might get business, Bill, but at the end of the day, is that the type of business that you want to work with? Those types of people just go for the quick wins and the quick dollars, but the inbound leads are typically the long-term quality ones.
Yeah, I agree with that. We built our dental practice with 50% personal referrals. And, it only takes about 30 new clients a month for a dentist to be successful.
Yeah, so we go back to the trust factor. I mean, people clearly trusted you, so they told a friend, they told a family member, and then the cycle goes on.
Yeah. So that's a good question. In a typical business that you work with, what's the typical number of new clients they need to be successful?
Yeah, so you're talking just like the integrative medicine client, the medical client that I work with as an example?
Yeah, that'd be a good example.
Yeah, so they probably deal with 20 to 25 patients a month is their capacity. So I would say 2 to 3 new patients a week. Now, it's difficult to get these patients for various reasons. We can get them in the door, right? But number one, do they have the finances? Do they have money to afford a 65 grand plus integrative cancer treatment that insurance doesn't cover? And number two, the other unfortunate reality is, are they too sick? If someone's too sick with stage 4 cancer, it's almost not worth both parties' time for someone to travel across the country and try to seek this type of treatment. So I would say those are two factors there for that particular client that I work with.
Excellent. And the numbers, you talk about knowing your numbers, and you talk about marketing is always about knowing your numbers. How do you integrate your marketing with your tracking and your numbers?
Yeah, numbers never lie unless they're in the media. That's what I like to say. So no, we use CRM like HubSpot. HubSpot's kind of the holy grail for inbound marketing. You can track a complete customer journey. You can track form submissions. You can track website traffic with Google Analytics. You can look at data through Google Ads. You can use Looker Studio through Google to track all sorts of metrics. So really it's utilizing Google's basic suite tools. So Google Search Console, Google Analytics, to look at general data. And then you can use a more sophisticated CRM tool like HubSpot to learn more about a particular customer's journey and how they found you and how they've, you've nurtured that lead or how they progressed through your lead funnel.
Gotcha. So is there competition doing what you're doing in this space?
In the integrative medicine space or just marketing in general?
You're marketing locally in general.
Oh yeah, there's thousands of agencies trying to do marketing, but the reality is 90% of them suck. I'll give a quick story here. I won't say the name of this agency, but they're based in Salt Lake City, Utah. They charge 10 or 15 grand a month. They speak at all these conferences. They've won every award that you could known to man in marketing. So you must think, wow, these guys must be credible. Come to find out, I sit in all these meetings. They didn't check, basic reports for Google Ads for a month. They didn't have a correct HubSpot pixel on the back end that was tracking things correctly. And I'm sitting here, wow, this is a top tier agency charging 10 or 15 grand a month. And the client's not asking otherwise because you don't know what you don't know. If you're a client who doesn't know marketing, you don't know what you don't know. You're just going to believe what this glorified marketing agency is going to tell you. So that's how I crush the competition, Bill, is being authentic and telling people this is how it actually works. I don't go and buy these fake awards. I don't, go through all these gimmicks and all these marketing conferences to make myself appear credible. I'm the real deal. I'm going to tell you how it is, and I perform. That's just the reality,
It's the same in dentistry as it is in marketing. The real people show up, and then there's others that market.
Yep, and they fake their way to the top and hope people buy it.
Tell us about your particular well-defined products and services.
Yeah, so I do affiliate marketing. That's kind of my own separate thing. So I do that for myself. And then I also, like I mentioned earlier, I do high ticket lead generation for clients. So a good example would be cash-based medicine, like I've talked about. Another example would be tire services. So I actually do a tire installation for a company here locally. I do a water heater installation. That's high ticket. And I also do, here's an interesting niche for you, heavy haul. So the big heavy haul trucks that drive down the road with the big tractors and the trailers, that's a very lucrative high ticket niche as well.
Well, you certainly figured out diverse but interesting hobby that pays.
Yep. And I'll tell you this, riches are in the boring niches. If you want to make money in marketing, focus on the boring niches.
I had an interview a couple of weeks ago on fasteners, things that hold things together, straps. Billions and billions of dollars are spent on pieces of things that hold other things together. I had no idea. Very boring.
Is that like for warehouses, or what was the use case for that?
They sell to electricians and plumbers and manufacturers of all types. Just to bundle things together is a huge industry.
I met a guy here locally last week, actually, is his business paints the lines, like the electrical and gas lines you see in yards and the flags with the red paint on them. He does that for businesses, and he makes $250 million a year with 1,000 employees. I'm like, wow, this is like the real deal.
More out there than you can shake a stick at. And why are people going hungry? I have no clue. Platforms. What do you rely on mostly for your affiliate marketing?
Yeah, so I would say number one is ConvertKit. That's what I use for email marketing. There's a lot of tools out there. I'm trying to think. Beehive's another up and comer. There's Constant Contact, Active Campaign. There's all sorts of CRM tools out there. I personally prefer ConvertKit just for the interface. I like some of the functionalities you can do with scheduling and just crafting a newsletter, and also the drip campaigns and landing pages you can create within ConvertKit. I think if you're ever going to take affiliate marketing seriously, you need a quality CRM. And these quality CRMs, as your list grows, they're not cheap. I mean, if you're talking 100,000 plus emails, you're going to be paying probably $500 to $1,000 a month at minimum.
Ooh. So you're talking about some of the values, the features that they bring you. What if somebody could bring you one that's good but very inexpensive? That would be a winner.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If something provides the same value that costs less, I'm going to absolutely hear it out.
Ooh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to actually create that. That sounds like a niche I'll go into.
Yeah, CRM for affiliate marketers?
Why not?
Do it.
Now, here's a good question. What feature's missing from your affiliate marketing platform? What do you wish you had in there?
Are you talking about ConvertKit in particular?
Yeah, any of it you want to talk about is fine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I just haven't done my education enough to do this, but I would say dabbling in maybe the audience segmentation. I've had more success in other CRMs doing certain audience segments and targeting different audiences than I have in ConvertKit. And I don't know if that's just ConvertKit appealing to the general affiliate user or not getting as sophisticated or in the weeds as other platforms do. But that's just one I can think of off the top of my head.
Would geofencing be very valuable?
For what I do in terms of affiliate marketing, probably not really, but geofencing is extremely valuable when it comes to paid search or even sometimes SEO campaigns.
Yeah, if you can get it down to a particular block in a particular city, even better.
Yeah, affiliate, I'm targeting the entire world because I do affiliate marketing for VPN companies, which is applicable to the entire world. But some of my clients only serve certain cities or certain states, so you have to geo target when you're running paid search campaigns or even some local SEO campaigns.
Sounds like a good place to start working, trying to figure out how to augment all these platforms. So, if you're talking about paid search, here's just kind of a niche question. What percentage of revenue should somebody spend on paid digital media in their marketing overall?
Yeah, so paid media could be both Facebook ads or Google ads. And the answer you're going to get from every quality marketer is it depends. I'm sure you've heard that one before.
About
Um,
99 times.
yeah. Any quality marketer will always say it depends, but it's true, right? So, for example, let's say you're performing a high ticket service like 65 grand cancer patients. More, you're going to put more of your revenue towards paid platforms because it's more competitive. Number one, you're never going to rank organically through SEO for some of these really lucrative keywords that lead to cancer patients, right? So you have to invest most of your money in paid search, mostly through Google Ads because that's targeting lower funnel search intent. Facebook ads, I'm not as big on for intent because it's not intent, it's interest based. If you're scrolling through Instagram and Facebook, you don't necessarily have intention to convert to anything. But if you're going to a search engine and you're typing something, that is very bottom of funnel and you have a high intent to convert.
I totally agree with that. And people should be backing this tape up and listening to that last comment because that's really the key to where you place your marketing money. Very
Absolutely.
good.
Anything with intent, throw it on search. Anything with interest, throw it on social.
Yeah. I could make that a quote and put it on a meme and sell that.
Go for it.
That'd be a good one. You got to do that. 5-star client service. What do you do?
How do I deliver five-star client experience? I would say number one is just be authentic, right? Because I mean, a lot of people that I work with that have spent a lot of money on gimmicky large agencies and they have a bad taste of marketing right in their mouth to start with. So the very first thing that you need to do is say, hey, I'm authentic. I know what I'm doing. Here's my case studies. Here's my process. Let me run. And you also want to give it leeway too, because any good marketing campaign typically going to take 30, 60, 90 days to see any notable results. You can't go in a week and say, hey, I'm going to get you to rank one on Google, or hey, I'm going to spin up a campaign and generate you $1 million in revenue. It just doesn't work like that, right? So I would say number one is just being authentic. And then number two is just delivering results and not beating around the bush.
Yeah, consistency is the new currency. It is true. You don't stay in the game, you won't win any game.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
I noticed your panther on the wall. Tell me about that.
That's actually a local spinoff store here. So they create graphics for local colleges, professional sports teams. So I went to the University of Northern Iowa, and that's a spinoff of the logo.
Okay, I was a Bartlett Panther in high school. That's why it drew my attention.
Yeah. It's cool. They make their local print shop and they make cool designs off, legit logos and stuff. So I like to support local business.
So you're not a Hawkeye, and you're not a Cyclone.
I'm not. I'm a UNI Panther.
A Panther. Well, we got something in common then.
Hey, if you've heard of Kurt Warner, he's probably the most notable person that's come out of there.
Yeah, he's an excellent guy too. Not just a good football player. He's a real class act.
He is.
How do you convert these clients to brand ambassadors for you?
Yeah, I mean, number one is delivering results. If you don't deliver results, why would anyone be an ambassador for you? And also, number two is to develop a personal relationship. So it's more than just the transactional of, hey, you pay me and I'm going to generate more money than what you paid me. It's getting to know these people on a personal level, going on vacations with them sometimes, going out for coffee, going out for lunch, and getting to know your clients on a more personal level than just strictly business. Because what I've learned by doing that is when you develop that personal contact with clients, which I have with my clients right now, they will be highly more likely to recommend them to other friends that they have that are successful business owners. And the circle just goes from there.
Absolutely. I think the brand ambassador thing is confused. A lot of people think you be a brand ambassador and they pay you big bucks. But a lot of brand ambassadors do it for the love of service given back to the person who's helped them.
Yeah, if you provide enough value to me, I'm going to say good things about you without expecting compensation.
Yeah. In our business, the dental business, we always had brand ambassadors who um, we would actually know that they were positive about us in their conversations in the office. And I would take my iPhone when they first came out. Before that, it was maybe it was a different video camera, and we would do little selfie videos and just put those up on Facebook Live even. So raw, uncut videos, and they're valuable. People will actually toot your horn all around, and it's very powerful for local business to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to putting yourself out there, not caring what people think. And the video goes a long way, especially in today's world. With AI everywhere, people want to see authenticity.
I was teaching a mastermind class, and I had about 8 or 9 dentists sitting around the table, and I would show them some of my videos, and I said, "You need to go back home and do this." So this one fellow, he was like 65 years old, doing well. He was in a group practice that he owned, and he was the face of the practice at 65. And he would get up in front of the camera and do stuff on a holiday. He would be like promoting a raffle for his green egg before Memorial Day for everybody to cook out, right? And his practice was giving away the green egg to the people locally, whoever got in the raffle. And it was PR for his office. And they would announce it, and then they would have a giveaway live on social media. And he got so much business from being a real person doing real things to give away things that didn't relate to dentistry, but just showing up, being heard, being seen. He was the best brand ambassador for his own client, for his own practice.
I mean, outside of that, Bill, look at who are the people that are successful in the marketing world. It's authenticity. I think of Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, look how authentic he is on everything that he does with his videos. He doesn't care what he says. He doesn't care what people think. And look where he's at now. I mean, I think he's a prime example.
Yeah. These guys that learned how to talk on screen and on camera have hit the mother lode.
Absolutely.
It's the Ryan Dozer Day, and I want to know, what are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? I would say I'm extremely grateful for the ability to work for myself. Number one, not having someone over my back telling me what to do, telling me what to wear, telling me where to be. I wake up every day, honestly, Bill, and say that to myself in my head. I'm like, wow, I'm extremely grateful that I have the freedom to do what I want. Yes, there's still a bottom line that needs to be covered, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done on a day in, day out basis. But a lot of people can't say that they don't have a boss breathing down their neck, or can't work from home, or can't do what they want to do.
And one of our sayings in our present company is TF, total freedom, time and money. So you've nailed it. Freedom is one of the most important things we can get as an opportunity to achieve.
Freedom's the ultimate goal. People just want to chase money, but money gets you freedom. So freedom is the ultimate goal, in my opinion.
You cannot buy time, but you can buy your freedom with money, but definitely you can't buy time. So time and money, absolutely. How do you start your day?
How do I start my day? Well, most days I actually hit the sauna. There's a red light therapy sauna near my house, and that has done wonders for me.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I don't know all the health benefits. I'm not a health expert, but typical sauna. But the red light therapy sauna is supposed to like do some other health things for you. But it's just a good mental health and energy boost for me to start the day. And honestly, ever since I started doing it, I've noticed results where if you typically, what do people do? They wake up, they grab their phone, they scroll through for a little bit, they go shower, and now their day's off to a sluggish start. Where if you go do something, whether it's even like working out, I know a lot of people work out in the morning, or do something just to stimulate your mind and just get the juices flowing, your day will most likely end up better.
I get out and walk in the warm periods of the year, not in the winter. Sometimes I wait till the afternoon, but we'll get up at 6 o'clock or 5:30 in the morning, go out and walk for 2 or 3 miles. So that's sort of my regimen for the last 3 years. This red light sauna thing. Do you notice a difference between a typical regular sauna that's just heat based?
I don't know. I mean, you can do the research yourself. Of course, they're going to sell all this stuff and say red light is better than typical for their own marketing purposes. But I need to do more research on that myself. They say there's a lot of like antioxidant benefits and, releasing toxins and this and that. I'm not really sure, Bill.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was the heat or the wavelength of the light, because in my business I studied lasers way back. The non-invasive laser, the one that was the helium neon, would just shine a red light, and it doesn't even build up any heat, but it would change some molecular thing in the cell, and people would tout it as useful. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know either. It's a stress reliever for me. I'll tell you that.
If you have a challenge in life, what's your technique to overcome it?
To overcome a challenge, I would just say number one, embrace it. I think a lot of people run away from challenges when they arise in life. So whether it's work, it's personal related, I tend to avoid conflict at all costs. But what I've realized is that's not always the best solution, and a lot of challenges are also conflict. So if I have a conflict or a challenge that comes up, Bill, you just have to unfortunately dive in and figure it out. That's the best advice I can give.
Meet it head on, right? Now, if you're 20 years old and you're looking back at your life going, I should have done this or should have done that, what are you going to give yourself the advice to go and actually do? Know that you know where you are now.
Yeah, so 8 years ago from where I'm at right now, as I'm 28 years old, I would tell my 20-year-old self the same thing that I mentioned to you earlier in this podcast, is that choose uncertainty over unhappiness. It's very easy to choose unhappiness when, tomorrow, I believe the quote, there's a guy I follow, Naval Ravikant. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's got all sorts of content floating. He's an angel investor. Look up Naval Ravikant if you haven't heard of him already. He's the smartest guy I've ever listened to. And he had a quote that was like, if you expect tomorrow to be like today, you're going to fail and live a miserable life. Because in our heads, we think that everything's linear. We think that over time, if we just do the exact same thing tomorrow as we did today, we're going to move in this linear path, when in reality, you know how it works. There's a lot of complex system. There's a lot of variables, right? Ups and downs. It's a roller coaster. So choose the path of uncertainty over unhappiness, because tomorrow is not going to be like today.
Sounds like a winner to me. You started talking about mentors. You've got a number that you've identified today. Who's your main person you're following right now?
Yeah, so my business partner, his name's Daniel Lynch. He is probably the biggest risk taker I've ever met in my life. If I told you some of the risks that you'd be like, wow, this guy, most people think he's crazy. And I thought he was crazy too. But what I've realized is like, you have to take risks in order to generate any sort of opportunity, especially in business. Like, yes, there's a difference between just dumb risk and calculated risk. That's 100% valid. But he really taught me that you have to take risks in order to do anything that's worthwhile.
Risk takers have big rewards. That's one of the things that I've always seen. Those who like the comfort zone, they may never get their feathers ruffled, but they may not succeed wildly. I sit back and watch all my friends who are semi-successful, and I feel the same way about them. Not risk takers, no big reward.
And it all depends what you want in life too, Bill. Not everyone's been out to, accomplish the big thing or accomplish this and that. Some people are satisfied and happy with that, and that's fine. I mean, do whatever you want to do, but in the same breath, don't complain about how you want more either.
Yeah, my financial advisor, when we went out when I was a young dentist, said he had never seen anybody that had amassed as much net worth and savings as me when I was that young. And so his next statement was, when you got it made, why risk it? That just set me out right there to go and risk it. And I did.
That's good.
And, I lost most of it because I risked it on things that never did turn out.
But I'm sure you learned a lot from those experiences that no one else would have.
We did. We went to Russia when Perestroika and Glasnost happened, and tried to cash in on Russia breaking apart.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was not a smart move, but we tried, and we built a house in Moscow or two. We set up a Ukraine lottery. We went to Kazakhstan to drill oil. I mean, these are things that dentists don't typically do.
I'll tell you this, Bill, what I've learned from working with medical clients, dentists and chiropractors are always the smartest business people. The traditional medical doctor has zero business knowledge.
I heard that yesterday or the day before by another marketer. I think it's pretty clear that medical guys are real different from dentists and chiropractors in their mindset.
Completely different. I didn't realize it until I started working with one.
Quite interesting that you said that. Deja vu all over again. What do you want to be remembered for when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I want to be remembered for someone who tried, right? So I don't want to sit back and say, "Oh, what if that? What if he could have did this? What if he could have did that?" I just want to be remembered for someone who went for it in life, because you only get one shot. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. I want people to look at me and view my name, Ryan Dozer, as someone who actually tried to do something and make a name for himself.
I have to correct you on one thing.
Let's hear it.
You will get more than one shot. You can start over again.
That's fair.
You can make yourself into anything you want to be. And the reason I say that is you're 28. I started over at 48. And I was very successful before I was, in that period of time, from the time I graduated dental school in 1975 up until 1995. I was successful for those 20, 30 years. But I was twice as successful, maybe 4 times more successful in the next thing I did, that next practice I built. When you know what you already know and then you apply to the next thing you do, you'll be even more successful. So just my thinking about starting over and doing it again, you're so much smarter the second time you do something.
Yeah, and what I meant by one shot was one life. Not one business shot. One shot, you have one life to make something of it.
I totally understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We don't believe in reincarnation exactly. So you don't get to start over with another business in another life. But hey, who knows? We'll only find out when we get to that next life, right?
Yep.
How can we support you? Tell us the connection point to ThriveOneFive.
Yeah, I would say just follow Ryan Dozer on LinkedIn. I try to post there daily for various content about affiliate marketing, AI, SEO. I actually have my own podcast called the Marketing Quacks Podcast. I have an interview after this, actually, funny enough. So that's been really successful for me lately, just interviewing qualified marketers and entrepreneurs, sharing their stories and instances of gimmicks and quacks that they have seen in the marketing industry. And that was the reason for starting that podcast. Is 90% of marketing agencies and marketers out there are quacks, in my opinion. So I want to do my best to shed light on that and expose the gimmicks.
You said marketing quacks?
Quacks, Quacks.
Well, I had a feeling you might be a podcaster because of your ability to rattle off the answers without too much stress. Most people are very stressed over being on a podcast. So
I used to be. Yeah, I used to be. Yeah.
Good job. Anybody who's wanting to improve their skills of communication, just open up a podcast studio and start talking to people. And as you do it, you'll get better.
It's such a low barrier to entry. I mean, you can use Descript, you can use Riverside, you can use StreamYard. I mean, there's a million of these platforms out there. Just buy a cheap microphone, use iMovie to edit, and you're off to the races,
Yeah, you can do it in any way you want to, and it can work. What's your experience on being on the Influencers podcast today, Ryan?
Very impressive show, Bill. I mean, I've been on a lot of podcasts before. They're typically not as organized as this one with the types of questions that you asked and the amount of value that I think was gotten out of this on both sides. So I'm very impressed with the organization that you have here.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it. One professional to another. We'll accept that. Give you the final word. Talk to the audience. I'll give you the entire screen. I'll come right back when you're done.
Yeah, I would say the final word is, I hinted at this at the beginning of the podcast, make sure you always choose uncertainty over unhappiness. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, and choosing uncertainty will lead to all sorts of opportunities that you didn't think existed.
All right. Thanks for adding that last minute word to our audience. And I want to have a little fun from this point on. I want to shift the focus from what you do to what we do. And I want your reaction. This is something that you're an expert in many things that we're going to talk about right now. in the affiliate marketing space and the AI space, things that can be done with a QR code. If you want to find out more about the Influencer Podcast, for instance, you come to the QR code and it'll take you to my digital business card on Ovu, where I focus on two most important areas of what I'm doing right now. I retired as a dentist, so I basically don't market dentistry, but I do talk about things on the Influencer Podcast all the time that are topical in what's going on in my life. So the Influencer Podcast sessions are all on drbillwilliams.tv, our website. Also, we talk about our AI technology, and this is an area that I was interested in you kind of giving us your feedback on as you look at what's available and you look at what people want to sell as affiliate marketers. I think there's some really interesting things that we've got available. The OTrim piece of software is an app. Will build the QR code, build a custom URL, but also track everything. So it's a very good tracking device for whoever opens and looks into your custom URLs. Does that sound like something that people would be useful in having?
Yeah, I actually didn't mention that as a tip earlier. I'm glad you brought up the tracking. So that would be another tip that I guess that I can add on to that in affiliate marketing is make sure you're tracking your URLs and what sources people are coming from. I have custom URLs for YouTube. I have custom URLs for email, custom URLs for certain banners on my website. So yeah, it's very important to track where your sources are coming from. Reason being, if one source is predominantly most of your sales, time to double down on that source, right?
Well, that's exactly what we're doing. And we give this away for free. You can build the QR code, you can do the tracking, you can do everything for free with this particular software. So it's one of our lead generation tools, actually, is to give stuff away. And we have free trials. I wanted to say trials because we do have a paid version of OTracker, which is like better and simpler than Google Analytics, for instance. Something that people use every day in marketing is Google Analytics.
I'm not a big fan of GA4, to be honest. I liked Universal Analytics, but ever since I started moving to GA4, I haven't been the biggest fan.
That's exactly what I hear among the marketers and people that actually use the stuff. The GA4 has turned people off, and we're here to rescue people with OTracker. So that's something that I always want to finish up with talking about our flagship program, which is the OConnect, our video conferencing software. This program, this video conferencing thing will change the way you operate your business. And once it becomes available, which is next week, the commercial version is going to be released this week. And it will have things that nobody else has, things that we can do with our conferencing. Primarily, the AI component is going to do translation in foreign languages.
Wow.
So very cool tool. So I just want to bring that out to the audience who's listening today. Our audience is like 195 countries around the world, and mostly entrepreneurs, people who are looking for an extra edge, and most of them are affiliate marketers also.
I love it. I love affiliate marketing.
Yeah, and they should know about you, what you're doing, and you're a good resource. So Ryan has been extremely informative today, and I think people will enjoy this podcast as much as any, based on how real you are, how grounded you are, and a lot of people should be jealous. At 28 years old, you've got it all figured out, and you got a great future. So kudos to you, and thank you for the audience for tuning in to the Influencers Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you guys all a little later on today with the next version of Influencers Podcast coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. It's Dr. Bill Williams saying good night, goodbye, good morning, wherever you are.